I'm getting ready for the Blood Rock 100-mile race. Bib number 10. Yeah, so I'm just chilling in my van, which is nice. Just trying to get my composure, visualize the race, trying to eat. I'm not hungry, but I know I should. I'm excited. I'm excited and nervous because it is supposed to be really hard. No reason to dwell on, the race itself. So I'm gonna just start and see how it goes. That's really always my plan, is just to get out there, do my thing. Hi folks, my name is Tara, otherwise known as Candy Mama, and this is my YouTube channel, Tara Treks. For the past year, I have been reviewing 100-mile races that I've done, and I realized the other day that I never did one about a race I did in early December of 2021. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Blood Rock 100-miler in Pelham, Alabama. You guys are probably wondering why I'm in this creepy room that's like half painted. So essentially, Jonathan and I bought a townhouse and we are converting one of the rooms into a gear room. So we're going to have our camping gear, backpacking gear in here. I'm also going to do a lot of my filming in here for videos. You guys are going to see this room a lot more often. Hopefully though, next time I do a video, it's going to look a little better than this. Let's get right into that video talking about Blood Rock 100-miler. I heard the race director completely changed the course for the 2021 race, which added a lot of technical terrain as well as elevation. A lot of the racers weren't going to finish in the designated cutoff time, which was 40 hours, so they actually extended it, which is so long on the trail. I mean, that can only give you a glimpse of how tough this race was. Of the 32 people that started the race, only 17 finished. And one word I could describe this race was just completely insane. So I'll begin by talking about the race course, race director, aid stations, the volunteers, and then I'll get into my personal experience with the race. Before we get into that, I want to ask y'all to please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those bell notifications. It only takes a click on y'all's end to help and encourage creators like me. As always, thank you for the support. All right, let's talk about Blood Rock race course. There is 50,000 feet in elevation change, a very steep and technical terrain. When you aren't going straight up or down at an unfathomable grade, you are probably tripping over jagged rocks and roots. It isn't all bad though. There are a couple areas of easygoing single track and 3 to 4 short road sections. The 100-mile course is 3 laps of a 34-mile loop in and around the beautiful Oak Mountain State Park in Alabama. The race is really well marked. There are little flags and little reflective pieces along the course, so it's really easy to navigate. There was only 30 racers in this distance, and besides at aid stations, I didn't really see anyone, so it was just a really long and lonely race. I'm going to talk about the aid stations at this race, and the reason I kind of go over different aspects of these races and why I review them is because I like to provide information for people who are thinking about running a similar race and kind of give them an overview of what to expect. I go on YouTube and I search a race and I watch pretty much all the videos that a racer has done on that specific 100-mile course. So I'm just trying to add to the commentary on Blood Rock. I don't think there's a lot of videos, so I do want to provide some commentary and let you guys know what to expect if you are planning on running Blood Rock, which you should totally do because it is an awesome race. Don't let this whole synopsis scare you, but it is a great race, so you should definitely race it. So I'm going to talk about the aid stations. The food and the urgency at the aid station did leave a little bit to be desired. I will say this though, I do appreciate the volunteers, and they lost sleep and they volunteered their free time to help out. So I do appreciate them and all they did at Blood Rock. During one 34-mile loop, you run past 5 aid opportunities. I found the distances between these aid stations was pretty good. I didn't feel like I needed them to be any closer together. The locations of the aid stations were really easy for my crew to drive to, and they never really had any trouble. The start and finish line is also an aid station you run through called the cabins. So that's essentially where you start. Obviously, when you start, you're not getting aid, but that is one of the aid stations that you actually go through. 8 tough and technical miles later, you get to the Eagle Nest Trail aid station, which is in the woods, and crews technically not allowed to go there, and it is very tough to get up there. So they're not actually allowed to navigate to Eagle's Nest, but that is the only one. 5 miles later, you visit the Cabins aid station a second time. So this is the one I was just talking about, the start finish. The Terrace Drive aid station is another cruisy 5.7 miles. In between Terrace Drive aid station and Peavine Falls aid station is 6 miles of crazy ascents mixed in with some easy single track. After Peavine, you run back on some very technical terrain to the cabins for 7.4 miles to complete a single loop of the race. The prepped food wasn't great, but they did have a good variety of snacks, water, and hydration mixes. I will say that most 100-mile racers were spaced out quite well, and by a couple hours, so I could see why providing warm cooked food whenever someone came up would be difficult. Something I really appreciated at the Cabins aid station was in the middle of the night they had cots and chairs and a fire going, which was really nice. I sat there for a couple minutes and I was refueling with my crew, and there was a really nice volunteer there that was trying to ease my stomach with some Pepto-Bismol, and they were making me food there. It was just a really nice moment. I just sat there and kind of collected myself and got warm near the fire in order to pump myself up for the next section. I could imagine being a volunteer at this race, just staying up all night, not knowing when runners are coming in, wanting to go to sleep, but you're not sure because runners might be coming in at any moment. So that is really tough. It is a really tough race to be a volunteer at. I could only imagine. I am super appreciative of the volunteers and sacrificing a weekend to volunteer at a race. So the race director, David, has run a lot of ultra marathons all over the country, so he really knows what it takes to put on a really great race. On his website and his pre-race emails, he goes over a bunch of questions that could possibly pop up, and it's very detailed, so you guys are in good hands when it comes to a race director. I'm going to talk about my experience now. The 100-mile race began on Friday at noon, so that gave me plenty of time to wake up and prepare. Within the first couple miles, I was already climbing, and I passed a bunch of people, but ended up hiking with this woman from Colorado. We stayed together for the first 8 miles, experiencing some really tough climbs and technical terrain. I'm gonna say that a lot. Tough climbs and technical terrain. But she did stop at Eagle's Nest aid station for a little longer, and I went ahead. Around 10 miles into the race, my stomach really started to bother me, and it pretty much, lasted the entire race at varying degrees.
I've been going for about 3 hours. It is definitely a tough course. I'm feeling it for sure in my legs already. About 16 miles in, I just trying to be positive. My stomach is upsetting me. I feel a headache coming on, but took a ibuprofen, just take the edge off a little bit because I don't want to get a headache during a race. Yeah, it's beautiful though. Look at this. Yeah.
My husband and our friend were acting as my crew, but since the race started on Friday, they didn't arrive until midway through the second loop because of work. My friend Hunter, and he was there crewing one of his buddies, and he actually met me at a couple aid stations to provide any help while Jonathan and our friend Rob were on their way. As I finished the first loop, it was getting dark, but I actually like running in the dark at nighttime. I'm zoned into the trail and zoned into the race. But, I also mentioned this before, it was getting pretty lonely at this point. Finishing the first loop gave me a clear picture of the course. The hills and climbs were random and difficult. The course was very rugged and rocky, as I've mentioned 7 times already. My stomach was still bothering me throughout, and it was very difficult to keep up with my calories.
Feeling good. That was beautiful. I'm just cruising right now. Just doing the best that I can. And that's all that I can ask for. You know?
Unfortunately, Hunter's buddy did drop out of the race and he decided to start pacing me. So he paced me for a 13-mile section, which was so nice. I was so thankful because I was so lonely at that point.
I have 7 more miles and I'm in second place. I hope no one comes up behind me. I'm pretty tired, ready to be done. Take a shower, sleep. Sounds good to me. Looking forward to it. Just, what, 2.5 more hours? I can do that. I can do that.
I had been in the number 2 overall spot for most of the race, so that's like men and women. And guys, let me just say this real quick. I was behind Jeff Browning. You guys probably know him if you are an ultra runner or have heard of ultra running. You probably know who Jeff Browning is. I didn't know who he was. And at the end of the race, he gave me a high five and started talking to me, and I was like so out of it. And now I look back and I'm just like, dang it, Tara, like it's Jeff Browning. Yeah, I didn't know who he was. Yeah. With the 7 miles left, I was slightly hallucinating that whoever was in the number 3 spot, I didn't know who, I hadn't seen anyone behind me, but I hallucinated this person, this imaginary number 3 person running not too far behind me, and they were like sprinting to overtake me. So I was freaking out. Oh my gosh. I just spilled water on me, so that's why I have this. I might as well just drink some right now. Stay hydrated, y'all. Okay, stay on there. Okay, but anyways, those hallucinations were just that. They were hallucinations. No one was behind me. No one overtook me. And that never happened. I ended up finishing the race number 2 overall behind Jeff Browning with a time of 26 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Woo!
Nice job. Good job, babe. You did great.
Hey guys, I finished the 100-miler, 102, 106, we don't know.
102 point.
And I came in second. And Robinson, can you show off the prizes? I got some prizes.
Blood rock, bling,
Some wine.
some wine.
Yeah, so it was a good race. Hard as heck.
This was my second 100-mile race, and I PR'd on this tough course and beat my previous 100-mile time by 3 hours. Overall, I thought this race was very difficult and would be good for someone who is looking to challenge themselves within the 100-mile distance on the East Coast. Also, if you're from like a different state, like out west, this is a great challenging course. You would not expect Alabama to have like this tough 100-miler, but it was difficult. The woman that I mentioned earlier from Colorado did mention how difficult it was. We talked later on social media, and she was like, that was a tough course. And she does like big mountains. She runs like big races and big mountains out in Colorado. So pretty cool, pretty cool. Don't assume this race is going to be easy because it's in Alabama. David really likes to throw in those tough climbs wherever he can get them. If you guys watched the very end, please comment a paintbrush emoji to celebrate the conversion of the gear room. And if you comment that emoji, that lets me know that you watched the very end, and I will say hello in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.